Hello. Today I've received something that I got on eBay, and it is actually not really an unboxing session because well, it's already kind of let's say open, but that is something I was very interested to see whether this is going to work, and I have actually no idea how to open the box. Here's some adhesive tape. Try to remove this first. And as you can see, I have already prepared a C64 board, which is running the Superkernal. And the main reason for this is I want to test this old cartridge, and this is actually a Midi cartridge, and it looks a little bit like it was not really available officially, so perhaps this was built by someone, and because this PCB looks kind of handmade, and the soldering looks a little bit well, let's say experimental, but well, anyway, I don't know whether this is working at all, but let's see if we can find out if it's working. So actually, and I have already prepared this C64, and it is running Cynthcart, and we can have some music or sound as well. Not talking about music at all. And in order to install the cartridge, we have to switch off the C64. And as we can see, it is kind of this kind of labeled, so it's going to be in and out 2 times. And it looks like it's really some kind of MIDI out, so it's not just a MIDI through or something like this. Well, anyway, that's not what I'm really looking for. Install this cartridge here, and I have a MIDI cable already available here, and let's see if this fits, and if this whole thing is starting again. So actually there's no smoke and no flames, which could be a good sign, can be a bad sign as well. Well, so the Superkernal is starting. Then let's start Cynthcart. Here we go. And it says Dartel Omni, so it has detected some MIDI device. Still working, make some sound. And then let's see whether we are able to create some sounds. I'm having Ableton Live on my laptop here right now, and I have to prepare a small set. Oh, it's going to work okay. And channel 1 should be okay. And let's going to press play. Well, it is receiving some data, and sounds a little bit horrible, but that's not an issue of this MIDI card. Just my test sequence, and That's not going to be the next Billboard chart hit, but it's just well, for the purpose of testing. And now let's see whether we can add some effects as well. So, this is pitch. It's a filter. So I'm really surprised that it's working out of the box. I haven't expected this, so actually I was a little bit afraid whether it is working at all. And the next issue would be whether Cynthcart is detecting this Midi card. And it's really kind of astonishing that it is really working on the very first attempt. Because I remember that Paul has, I think, at least 3 different versions of Cynthcart, especially designed to work with the Dartel Midi cards and with the Cabros Midi card, and one that is using a different address or something like this. So, and that we were right on the first time, it's really a little bit unexpected. And the interesting thing with this card, and I'm going to show you this in a second. Usually I'm using this, sorry for the rambling, this Dartel Midi cards, which looks like this. And as you can see, that the cartridge itself is bigger than the one I've got here, and especially those Dartel Midi cards, they are a little bit expensive. I think they are around 40 euros or something like this, and I have to admit that I kind of dislike this kind of bulky design, and especially if you run the Dartel card with the original Cynthcart, which I have somewhere here in my box as well. But to avoid more rambling, I'm just going to skip this part. And oh, here we go. That's the original Cynthcart, and I think no, it's not in here. Just put this back. In order to run the Cynthcart together with the Dartel Midi card, you need a expansion port expander. So usually I have this kind of this style. So it's a two-way expander, and so it works the way that it loads the Cynthcart program from the cartridge and then keeps this Dartel Midi card connected. And as you can imagine, if you install this at your C64 like this, it's going to be a very unreliable and bulky solution. So that's the main reason why I placed the Cynthcart image or Cynthcart program on the Superkernal. And basically what I did in the past already, but couldn't figure it out right now, we can use the Cynthcart program on the Superkernal in a way that it starts automatically when we switch on the C64. And this makes it very comfortable, because basically Cynthcart is not requiring a keyboard at all, because all the parameters you can influence on this very nice synthesizer program are controllable by Midi. So instrument changes, instrument parameters, all that stuff, MIDI effects and all that things can be controlled by, for example, Ableton. And therefore you can create a very compact C64 and put this somewhere in your shelf, and especially as a musician, where you really want to have a variety of synthesizers, it is very comfortable to have this somewhere on your shelf, and you're not required to operate this device with a keyboard or something like this. So basically everything can be controlled by Ableton, and if you're using a launchpad, for example, whether it's a Novation or an Archive or something like this, you can link most of the parameters to this launchpad, and even all this MIDI automation is working as well. And this makes this small cartridge or small program very versatile and very good and easy to use. And by changing the parameters of the sound, it is very interesting what you can achieve actually. And just by going through the different setups, you may get an impression that we can create a lot of different sounds here. So we may need just an interesting melody or something like this to make a more, well, kind of use of this program. And that's well, actually all I want to show and want to test. And I'm really happy that the cartridge is working. And perhaps I'm going to see whether I can find a case. And what's really a little bit pity, and let's just switch off this kind of annoying noise, is that those ICs are scratched, so it's actually not possible to detect what kind of IC was used for this one. So this is just I think a clock, and the other components are not very hard to identify, but especially those 3 ICs are really not readable at all. And otherwise it would be kind of easy to recreate this cartridge, and it's a little bit surprising, because if you open up the Datel MIDI card, it is clearly visible what's inside. And so if you really are going to recreate this one, that's not going to be a big challenge, because all those parts are available. And it's probably just a, let's say, firmware issue that you get this thing to run. But basically they are available. You can still buy them, so there's actually no reason to recreate this cartridge, except for, let's say, the idea or for the purpose of making it smaller, for example. And what would be kind of sugar on top of the cake would be a kind of an EEPROM or a flash ROM, where you can put this Cynthcart program on, and then you have a combined MIDI slash Cynthcart cartridge, which is actually something I'm using with this so-called Kerberos card. I can show you in a second as well. Just requires some rumbling, but here we go. That's this one, and this is exactly what I was talking about in this case. It is a cartridge where you can flash programs on, and it acts as a combination of a MIDI interface with a flash ROM for several programs, and it can kind of pretend or simulate a floppy drive as well, but it works very good for cartridge images and smaller programs. And actually I'm using this to run one of my C64s as a Cynthcart synthesizer. But unfortunately this cartridge isn't available anymore, so I'm more than happy that I got this one second hand, so to say. And the last one I've seen on eBay was sold for, I think, 175 euros, so that's a pretty insane, pretty crazy amount of money, considering that this card was originally available for, I think, 75, 80 euros or something like this. So, well, but unfortunately, it is actually not planned to have a second batch or a broader availability of this card. So I have to look for some alternatives. And as I said, one alternative is combining the Diatel Midi card with either a pod expander and the Cynthcart as original card, or by using the Superkernal to start a Cynthcart program from it and using either this MIDI card or this Diatel MIDI card. I'm probably going to reassemble right now. And well, so it is quite easy to build your own C64 synthesizer, and by using a twin SID solution or dual SID solution, you can have even a stereo sound or to have more polyphony, and that's pretty interesting. And this is what I did with my other C64s, and perhaps I'm going to have a video about this as well. Or you can use this FPGA SID, which is actually in development, which I have presented in a former video as well. So this is capable to emulate two SIDs, and there you have a stereo SID solution as well. And there are a couple of different twin SID solutions, like the one that you can get from the Messiah guys from 8-Bit Ventures. It's pretty simple and pretty cheap, and well, but that's not going to be the topic of this video. Anyway, so yes, I'm very happy that this one is working. Although it looks a little bit strange, and there are even some pins not soldered, and that's really a strange thing. And well, maybe some IC experts are able to identify what kind of ICs were used for this one, but perhaps, well, it is in some kind recreatable. And just imagine what's possible using the SMD technology. Imagine how small this cartridge could be, and if you shrink this down to maybe half of the size of this original card, and just put this into your C64, like maybe like this, it would create a very compact synthesizer C64. Well, let's dream a little bit about this, but actually we are not going to accomplish this today. Anyway, as usual, thanks for watching, and if you have any ideas, comments or whatever, maybe you know what kind of device or what kind of ICs were used for this device, or whoever built this one, I'm more than happy to learn and to hear about this. And well, anyway, if you're interested in the next episodes of my C64 projects, feel free to subscribe. I'm more than happy about every single comment and every single subscriber. And well, that's all for today. Thanks for watching, and bye bye.